That didn't last more than 2 hours. Back to the shop. What's going on, guys? We have a new mod for my 2024 Mustang. If you guys haven't seen the title already, you probably already know what it is, but we found the biggest supercharger we could fit on my 2024 Mustang. 3.0 liter Whipple Supercharger by Whipple, obviously, not the Ford Performance Kit. And we're gonna be putting it on my 2024 Mustang over here. I'm super excited to throw this on. It's gonna change the entire driving experience. It's gonna be awesome. Before I talk about all the mods I already have and all the power it's gonna make, I'm gonna show you guys the Whipple and what came in the box, and we're gonna get this thing installed. I was actually gonna plan on installing it, but I just decided I'm gonna pay someone to do it because they know what they're doing. I'd rather get it done right the first time. Enough yapping, I'm gonna break open the boxes and show you guys what I got. So when you order a Whipple kit, you get 2 boxes, 2 big heavy boxes. This one's about 65 pounds, and this includes all the supporting parts for the Whipple, and then that one's 100 pounds. That's the Whipple itself in there, nothing else. So this is just the instructions and everything in the box. I'm not gonna go open every box. I've opened like 2 boxes, but it comes with a checklist on all the boxes, and somebody at Whipple checked it all off and made sure all the parts are in there. You got the hoses, got the air filters over here. This is the heat exchanger, whatever you want to call it, radiator, whatever. I'm not sure what this is, but it has all the parts on there. You have the intake, but this is just all your boxes. I know you guys don't really care about all this. You have your tuning device in one of these boxes, which everyone says, oh, you can't tune these. Well, why does Ford and Whipple have a kit for this if you can't tune them? So this is just all the supporting parts, like I said. I know this is the box you guys wanted to see. This is the Whipple itself, the blower. This is 100 pounds. And there's nothing else in this box other than the Whipple. So this is the blower, 3.0 liter Whipple Supercharger. And this thing is massive. Like, if you've never seen one of these like out of a car's engine, the thing is huge, a lot bigger than I thought. I mean, this thing is massive. This thing, I'm not taking it out because, like I said, it's 100 pounds, but this is it right here. You got all this stuff covering up the tubing and stuff so nothing gets in the holes. But it's massive, guys, and I'm super excited to throw this thing on. We just got it in black. I might eventually take these off and paint them red to color match the car. I think that would be pretty sick. You can literally fit your whole fist in there. But we are going to be getting this installed very soon, and I'm going to talk about that right now. Also, I would like to mention for you guys, if you guys are interested in putting a supercharger on your 2024 Mustang, we're just going with all Ford stuff. We got Ford Motorcraft 5W50 full synthetic. They use this, I think, in the GT500s and stuff. Whipple actually recommends this as well. We got the Ford FL500S oil filter, which you should be using anyways. And then we are just going to use the stock coolant, yellow pre-diluted antifreeze coolant 50/50 mix that comes stock in the car for the car and for the Whipple. So this will cool the Whipple and the car. And yeah, so this is the stuff we're using. I got 5 gallons of this. I don't know if we're going to need that much, but more to be safe than sorry. And then 10 quarts of full synthetic 5W50. I might switch to AMSOIL in the future, but I just got both at the same time because we were at the Ford dealership. Yeah, enough yapping. We're just going to skip straight to the dyno. That didn't last more than 2 hours. Back to the shop. Did have to get the Mustang towed back to the dealership, not to the dealership, back to the shop, because Whipple sent out, included in the kit, a faulty fuel crossover line. So what the fuel crossover line is, there are obviously 2 fuel rails, the billet fuel rails, and behind the Whipple there's a hose, and it connects to both fuel rails. It connects both together with a hose. And I just got the car back. He did 3 rips on the dyno, completely fine. Had the car for about 2 hours. I did 3 pulls, not even touching triple digits or anything, nothing crazy at all, because I was respecting the power on the car. Obviously, it's gonna blow the all-season tires off, even though they're 315s. And the fuel rail on the driver's side decided to pop off the the fuel rail. Put fuel all over the engine bay, leaked all over the ground. I had to get it towed, and I didn't know really what the issue was at the time. I saw something popped off, but I didn't really know what it was. He took off the fuel crossover line, the hose. Whipple overnighted a new one, and it was defective. The clamps in there, they're supposed to be like an oval, and it was like really stretched out. It was like a circle, so there's no clamping force onto the fuel rail. This is the side it happened on. You can't see it, but we'll come over here because it's just more visible of what you could see. This right here, this blue clip, it's really, really hard to see. So this blue clip right there, really hard to see. That goes over to the other fuel rail, kind of conjoins them together, and that's what blew off, but on the driver's side. I'm gonna go over the dyno pulls briefly here. I don't want to bore you guys too much because I know you guys want to see the S650 with the Whipple on it. But stock pull, it made 420 to the wheels on an MD dyno, which is a Mustang dynometer. And then there's two types of dynos, Mustang dynometer and then a dyno jet, at least as far as I know. And the guy had a Mustang dynometer there. So those tend to read a little bit lower. And then the dynometers, it's so windy out. Hopefully it's not picking up the wind, but it's insanely windy. But the dyno jet, it also calculated the horsepower number on the dyno jet. So it made 730 wheel horsepower with the Whipple on there. Stage 1 kit with long tube headers and AWE catback exhaust. And which is pretty interesting too, my buddy has a manual S650 with the VMP stage 3 kit. So it has the either 112 millimeter or 122 millimeter throttle body. And I think that's it. It has a different calibration, and it made, I think, 750 or 760, maybe 780. I don't remember, but between 750 and 780. So it made about 30, 40, 50 more horsepower than mine stage 1 kit from Whipple. So those are the dyno horsepower numbers. Pretty impressive for just a bolt-on kit, pretty much. Nothing done to the fuel system, just fuel rails, injectors, spark plugs, obviously the Whipple, and some other stuff that came in the kit. So there was a little sound clip. Yes, it does whine a little bit. Once you get higher in the RPMs, it does whine a little more, obviously. But once I put the Whipple on, the exhaust got way louder. I mean, not in a bad way. It was obnoxiously loud already, but now with the more air going into the motor, it is a lot louder. So we're driving the car right now. I'm gonna do a few pulls and rips here, but first I wanted to talk about what I've noticed pretty much with the car and if it's different driving, because I drive this thing every day. It's a daily driver. So driving around with 730 wheel horsepower for a daily driver is pretty crazy. But a few things I've noticed, the Whipple whine is not that prominent. It's a little bit like, if you have no music going on in the car, you can definitely hear it like hum, but that's really it. Other than that, it really drives like stock until you get up to like 3,000 or 4,000 RPM, or unless you smash on the gas, then obviously you know it's not stock. But just cruising around town, it's pretty much, you wouldn't even know that there's a Whipple on. A few other things I've noticed, obviously, I don't know if you guys can see from that camera angle, but we have the gear selector icon on the dash now with the 10-speed. Ford didn't include that with the factory tune or whatever you want to say. I don't know why, but if you don't have a Whipple, you can still enable that gear selector or the gear showing when you're driving around without manual mode. You have to enable that in 4Scan or whatever, but Whipple automatically enabled that in the tune. The car, it doesn't run hotter, but it gets hotter quicker, obviously. I've noticed that as well. The car pops and burbles a little bit more, especially like if you're on the gas and you let off and kind of let it engine brake, you'll hear a bunch of like ba 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 ba, like stuff like that, like a bunch of burbles and stuff. I've noticed that as well. Oh yeah, one other thing I did notice is the gas mileage. Obviously, you're driving a boosted car. I get about 200 miles on a tank now, and I've filled up twice. I'm getting about 14.1 miles per gallon. A lot of stop and go, very minimal highway, so that's kind of cruising around town highway. I'm getting about, I think, 18, maybe 20. If you take it on a road trip, you probably get around 20, 21. Finally arrived to Mexico. We just have one more turn and we will be in Mexico. So we're gonna throw this thing in sport mode and have some fun. We do have the all-season tires on. They are 315s. Surprisingly, they hook fairly well, especially from second gear, 40, 35 miles an hour. Almost missed this turn here. But it hooks surprisingly well. I was gonna buy actually some other tires, but I just don't see a point now. So we are in Mexico right now. I like to kind of put it in manual mode and get it into the right gear. So there's manual mode. Second gear 30. There's about 1 miles an hour right there. I mean, this thing just freaking rips. It spun a little bit. It doesn't lose traction, but it kind of chips the tires a little bit. And second gear, 35 mile an hour, it pretty much just hooks and books. I mean, this thing is absolutely insane. In sport mode, the shifts are so crisp, they're so fast. It's absolutely insane, and it sounds so good with the headers and this AWE catback exhaust. It's absolutely insane. So this Mexico day, it's not a bad day. It's about 45 degrees out in Mexico. Kind of cold for Mexico now, but scenery is looking like a bunch of fields. Nothing crazy. We'll take a turn here. Mexico is a pretty solid day today. And we'll give it a little rev. Shifts are absolutely insane, and this thing just screams. It spun a little bit, it does spin a little bit, but I guarantee you once you heat those tires up, heat them up a little bit, you're hooking and booking. But traction control on this Whipple kit is pretty solid. I mean, that thing is quick. That was just a mash the pedal to the floor. That thing, it just rips. And there really is nothing going on in Mexico today. I mean, that is great to see. There's just nothing going on in Mexico. I mean, really just amazing to me. I mean, that thing is crazy. It freaking just pulls and pulls like a freight train. It's literally insane. It just does not stop pulling. It's instant power because it's the Whipple. It's connected to the whole belt system. As soon as you get on the gas, instant power. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And those shifts in sport mode are like butter. It's addicting to hear those shifts. They're just like bah, bah, bah. It's absolutely insane, guys. I can't get enough of it. I mean, so guys, if you do have any questions about my car or the Whipple kit or any questions at all that come to mind, just let me know in the comments. I'll try to answer all the comments and questions I possibly can. But to end off the video, the question is, was the Whipple worth the money? I 100% think so. Obviously, I'm still driving careful. I obviously don't want anything to break, but that's why I got the Stage 1 kit, because that makes the lowest amount of horsepower, which is lowest is still 700 wheel, which is absolutely insane. And honestly, I think that's the perfect happy medium for the street, because anything over this, really, you ain't even going to be able to put the power down unless you're running a drag pack. And daily driving on a drag tire is not